EMP Series Untold Edition, Day 171. The following audiocast is the latest installment of my EMP Series Untold Edition, which is published on my Patreon page. I am posting it here free as well today for you all to check out. This Untold Edition series provides a more in-depth look at the EMP series that I publish weekly here on YouTube. This Untold edition provides value-added material and contains plot and character lines that may not be allowed on YouTube. This material is available on my Patreon page, which I will provide a link to in the description. It is accessible by my reader level patrons for only $1 a month. Of course, as always, the base YouTube-friendly story will continue to be available here for free on my YouTube channel. Thanks to all my YouTube subscribers, as well as my patrons. Day 171, Untold. Captain Edwin Nunez sat in the woods out of sight. He watched the road that led into the parking lot of the dam. He saw the Jeep drive in and flash its lights on and off twice. That was the signal he was looking for. He walked down the trail and into the open lot at the base of the dam. He climbed into the passenger seat of the Jeep. The Jeep drove out of the lot and up an old logging road into the hills above the dam. On a ridge that overlooked the valley below, it rolled to a stop. The driver instructed Nunez to get out, and when he did, the Jeep coasted down a few hundred feet and stopped by the tree line. As Nunez stood in the road, another Jeep approached from the opposite direction. It stopped a few yards from where Nunez stood. Two men got out and walked over to him and patted him down. One of them looked back at the Jeep and nodded the okay. The lights flashed once, and the man told Nunez to walk over to the Jeep and get in the passenger seat. Once seated inside, Nunez looked back. In the back seat sat Congressman Ted Holmes. "Well," asked Holmes, "how did it go?" "It's done," Nunez replied. "No problems." "Excellent," said Holmes. "I'm going to need you to stick around a bit longer, Eddie," Holmes informed him. "The Board of Governors for the region voted to eliminate the military's presence here. The commander, Major Stillman, managed to squash it for now. But we may need to help them change their minds, to give them a reason to want the military to stay, or to need them to stay. My plan calls for them staying in the area, so that means we stay too for now." Nunez paused for a moment as he pondered this. "Surely you must have other assets in the area?" he asked Holmes. He knew this was futile and regretted it almost immediately. He knew Holmes would not tell him if he had others in the region, and he was already pretty sure that he did. All of Captain Nunez's operations were officially off book, but his investigation into Major Stillman was off book, in that he hid it from Holmes himself. Carl Fairley was the only one who knew the particulars of that operation. He was the only person Nunez completely trusted. He was also the only person Nunez could be 100% sure that Holmes did not own. He suspected Stillman was Holmes's man, but couldn't prove it yet. Holmes had just revealed that the major had hid the board's vote to remove troops from the upper level command. Yet the fact that Holmes knew proved that Stillman was, at the very least, cooperating with the congressman. Nunez and Carl long suspected that there was someone above Stillman in the organization. Now he was wondering how he could have possibly been so stupid not to see this before. It took Holmes coming here for Nunez to put the pieces together. Still not ironclad proof, but the connection was made for Nunez. Holmes actually had three assets in the area: Nunez, Stillman, and Captain Crawford. Neither one knew of any of the others' involvement with the congressman, although Stillman had his suspicions about Crawford. Nunez also recruited Lieutenant Saunders, and he and Carl were the only ones who knew about the lieutenant's involvement with Section 7. Section 7 ran autonomously. They were controlled by Holmes only in the respect that Holmes controlled Nunez, who ran Section 7. However, all the members knew nothing about Holmes. Holmes was very cautious and even ingenious in how he set things up. Layers upon layers, each operating without knowing anything about any of the other layers. All except for Captain Edwin Nunez, who was starting to figure the whole organization out. As he sat there, listening to Congressman Ted Holmes issue his directives, he pondered in his own mind how much of what he knew he would tell his friend, Carl Fairley. Holmes finished up and instructed Nunez of how and where the two would meet next. Nunez nodded and climbed out of the Jeep. The lights flashed, and the two men standing watch walked back over and climbed into Holmes's Jeep. It started up and the lights came on. The first Jeep started as well, and both drove off, down the road, back toward the valley and the town. Nunez stood alone on the dirt road, several miles outside town.